Good morning. How's everyone doing today? So today I just wanted to talk really quickly about something that happened between my oldest daughter and I this morning. I was listening to this song that I love by Jidenna. Jidenna took a while to grow on me, by the way, but I love Jidenna, some of his stuff. I've grown to love Jidenna as an artist, and he has this song called Bambi, and I love it. He is, I think his father's Nigerian and his mother's white. That just sounds plain, but I don't remember where she's from, but she is Caucasian, right? So it's a song called Bambi, and I'm singing it, and in the song he's calling a girl Bambi, and he's saying that he got an invitation to her wedding, and this is a girl that he was with, and he was talking about how if his grandfather didn't have 7 wives, because he's Nigerian, he's African, from Africa, and if grandfather never had 7 wives, I would be a lion or a cheetah. And so it's like the song had like double meanings. Like he was talking about the jungle and animals, but he was really talking about the fact that he considers himself incapable to be faithful to a woman because of his upbringing, it sounds like, right? So in the video, the girl gets married, he goes to the wedding, and he's making a fool out of himself because he feels like he has to have this woman, but really he's really emotionally unavailable to her. And he also says somewhere in the song that he's afraid that she's the love of his life. So this dude he's talking about in the song, his character is really afraid of being in love, because as most players are, people who can't commit to people, men and women, there are women who do it, who have so many partners, and deep down inside, a lot of them are afraid to be vulnerable. A lot of times they've been hurt by that one person, and they become so they cope with it by never allowing themselves to love again. So everybody suffers for it, in essence. Anyway, he's saying Bambi, and I'm thinking this is just the name that he's giving this girl. Maybe it's a true story, whatever. He's just calling her something. But the song goes back and forth referring to animals, right, in the jungle. And I got that. So my daughter says to me, I wonder if he says, because he says my dear, and he calls her my dear. She says, I wonder if he was saying deer, D-E-E-R. And I said, oh, sugar, right? I'm trying to stop cursing. And I thought about it, and I'm like, wow. He probably is saying deer as in a deer in the wild, and dear as in my dear, like you would call a person my dear. And I really didn't get it that way. Like he is basically saying how animalistic polygamy is. And he is basically saying in the song that he's trying, in one way he's trying to protect her by saying, be careful, like, you know, you shouldn't be in love with me, you shouldn't be in love with this type of person, you know, I'm just like impulsive, I'm afraid to love, so I want you. And he's saying, I want you, but then in the same token he's warning her, you know, be careful, because you'll be devoured like a deer, to a lion. And there's another reference to a wild animal that he gives that the deer is prey to, and I don't remember what it was. But I was dumbfounded, like, wow, sometimes it takes a child to pinpoint certain things for you. And what's funny is that I was at rehearsal last night, and I was talking to some of my sisters about, and see, that can go either way, sisters, you know, I meant friends, not necessarily black women, but women. And I was telling them about a realization that I had about myself, and I was kind of beating myself up. I'm just gonna say it. I was beating myself up about the fact that I know, and this was way before the song, so sometimes things happen in succession, and it's to bring you to the realization of something, because all of these sequences weren't planned. They just, sometimes things in life come together and they happen back to back to back to make you, to paint an entire picture for you. And I'm just realizing and recognizing that, and I'm like, oh wow, I didn't realize that happens. It's like, that's so weird how that happens. So anyway, me and the ladies were talking about, I was kind of like venting, and just like, how you talk to your friends about things that may hurt you, or things that you're going through. So I was talking about the fact that I seem to usually, and I know it's not just me, but sometimes when you're going through something, you feel like it's just you, even though there may be hundreds or millions of people, who go through the same thing, like lots of people who go through the same thing. I always find myself being very smitten. I won't say, well, I find myself throughout my life being smitten, really head over heels, in love, infatuated with unavailable men, mentally unavailable men, players, guys that are considered bad boys. They're sexy, they're hot, they're, everything. And I know, and they, a lot of them don't hide the fact that they're not available emotionally, and they go from woman to woman to woman to woman just because they can. And one of my friends was saying that it's like an addiction. People who are addicted to cigarettes, let's just say. I think that was the actual example that she used. People who are addicted to cigarettes, they know that the warning label says that it causes cancer. They know that many people die from things that cigarettes cause over time, and they still smoke. It's the high, it's the fix. Some people are attracted to things. They grow to be attracted to things, and they want to do things that give them a high, a literal high or a figurative high, and they know what the repercussions of those indulging in those things will have on their lives, whether it's short term or long term. They know from seeing it happen to other people. They know from it happening to themselves. But sometimes people engage in things that they're passionate about or passionate for. And it's just really, like, I never looked at the fact that the type of guy that I'm attracted to can be looked at as an addiction. And a bad addiction, I am so, don't want anybody to touch my car, where I'm parked. So that's why I keep looking over, I'm looking to see how much space they have to pass me. Anyway, it's crazy, because I was saying, why is it that you can like something and want something, and it's just so not detrimental or so urgent, but something that you're so passionate about can be so wrong for you. Some people are okay with it, but that can be wrong for a person. It's wrong for me, because I get emotionally attached, and I know that I'm not the only person that happens to. But then I said, I feel that it's kind of cruel that God has something for me. God has something for everybody. And I feel that it's kind of cruel that God may say, this is the person for you. And that person to me may be butt ugly. They may be out of shape, low self-esteem, whatever it is, something that I'm not attracted to. And I said, how is that fair for that person, for me to say, let me put away what it is that I'm attracted to and just be with you because I know that you're a good guy, because I know that you're going to treat me well, because I know whatever it is that I know. So let me just suck it up, right? Then I was saying to them, how is that fair for that other person to experience the negative body language from me, the cold shoulder, until they actually wear me down, like until I actually feel like I'm settled, like I give up on what I want, like I'm just gonna settle for that. That doesn't feel good to anybody. It's crazy. And I just went off on a tangent, but anyhow, I'm gonna pray for myself and I know that I'm gonna overcome it, because knowing is half the battle. It's just really creepy, really weird, but the point is, it's funny how things come to you in sessions, and how things are orchestrated in a way, life orchestrates things in a way that several things can happen back to back to back in succession, and they could be pointing to the same thing. So I talked about that guy that I dated for 10 years, that I was in a relationship with for 10 years, on and off, yesterday. And the creepy funny thing was, like, a part of my closure, he always used to say, just really quickly, he always used to down me and beat me up for being on social media. And that was one of the things that we clashed about back then. Social media was like towards the end of our relationship. We were clashing about that, and he was saying how dumb it was, and you know how people shouldn't put themselves and make them put themselves out there in any kind of way on social media, that he would never have any kind of social media page or anything like that. I didn't know that I wasn't over him, but a few years ago I decided to look him up and see if he was on Facebook, just to see, be nosy, see how he was doing, what was going on. And I couldn't find him, but it so happened that I talked to my sister about it. She looked it up, and she said, maybe he blocked you. And I said, I'm not sure if he went back on his word or whatever, but why would he block me? Like, you know, what purpose would there be if he actually decided to come out with something? Why would he think that I would look whatever? So she looked it up, and lo and behold, she found a page, his pictures and everything. And I'm like, oh. So this went on for a while, and I started to feel vindictive. I started to feel like, you know what? And went through. And so anyway, a few years after, I think I kept trying. And this time I didn't even realize that I didn't really forgive this guy, or like get it out of my system. And still holding on to the hatred and the hurt or whatever. So I looked him up, and now apparently I'm unblocked. So he actually has 2 different pages, and he's all over social media. I mean, well, at least Facebook that I know of. He's acting now. He's doing all this crap. And it's just really weird and really funny how hypocritical that was in time, whatever. Anyway, the point is that I didn't realize, and all of this is coming to fruition, that I did not let go of that relationship. So last night, and that was before my daughter said to me, oh, Bambi, I wonder if it's this, you know. I dreamt about this guy after all these years. I haven't spoken to him. The last time I spoke to him was in 2006. And I remember that because that's when I gave birth to my second daughter. And that was a whole terrible, that is what happened in my life that really made us cut the ties for good. And I might get into that a little later. But anyway, so I dreamt about him last night. You know, sometimes you see people in your dreams and you don't know who they are because they don't look exactly the same. Their image is distorted, or you don't remember the dream. So I fully dreamt about him last night, and I was asking him questions. In the dream, we were friends, and we were cool. We were very capable. We were very able to have an intelligent conversation with each other. So I was able to ask him. It was kind of like getting over the, you know how some people want to see people and ask them questions about why did this happen. So it wasn't about why did this happen, but I asked him one question, that something that bothered me in the relationship, and he answered it, and we went back. It was funny because I don't ever think I remember this happening in a dream before, where I can, in the dream, I'm asking someone about something that happened in the past, and I can think back in the dream and ask them. So I thought back in the dream of an incident that happened, or a time when I asked him a question and how he reacted. So I asked him that in the dream. You remember when, and da-da-da-da-da. So something came out, and he told me, and I said, you remember? He said, did you know that? And I said, I think I did, subconsciously. And I said to him, remember the time when, and it was a real time, in real life, when I woke up and I realized that what I was asking him about really happened. And I said, do you remember when blah, 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 and how you reacted? And he explained to me why he was uncomfortable and saying it and whatever. And I just wonder if I'm prophetic. And if that really is a thing. But from his Facebook page, I think it is. But either way. Anyway, I'm rambling on, and somebody is calling me, and I don't want to do a part 2 of this video. If I pick up the phone, it's going to make me have to do a part 2. Anyway, I just went on. There were a lot of points here. I guess I will say we have to analyze who we are, and at some point try to recognize and realize how we got to where it is that we are, what things contributed to it. You have to find the root of the problem. I said this yesterday, and kind of recognize what's hurting you and work towards fixing it. Peace.